My girlfriend said, "Your best friend makes me uncomfortable. It's him or me." My best friend had been paralyzed in an accident, and I was his primary caregiver. I said, "I understand your feelings." Then I chose him, moved into his guest room to help full-time, and blocked her number. When she showed up at his house, demanding to talk. Original post. 28 male. I've known my best friend since we were 7 years old. 21 years. That's longer than some marriages last. We grew up 3 houses apart, played on the same little league team, survived middle school together, were roommates in college. He was the best man at my older brother's wedding. He's family. 8 months ago, he was driving home from work when a drunk driver ran a red light. T-boned his car at 45 miles per hour. He survived, but the spinal cord injury left him paralyzed from the waist down. He spent 3 months in the hospital, another 2 in a rehabilitation facility. His parents passed away when we were in our early 20s, his dad from a heart attack, his mom from cancer 2 years later. He has a sister, but she lives overseas with her husband and kids. She flew in for the first month, but she couldn't stay forever. She has her own life, her own responsibilities. So when he was discharged, I stepped up. I was already spending every evening at the rehab center anyway. I helped him find a wheelchair-accessible apartment, learned how to assist with transfers, drove him to physical therapy 3 times a week. His insurance covered a home health aide for 4 hours a day, but that still left a lot of gaps. I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years. We moved in together about 14 months ago. She knew about the accident, knew I was helping him. At first, she seemed supportive. She'd asked how he was doing, sent him a card when he was in the hospital. But as weeks turned into months, things changed. It started small. Comments about how much time I was spending away from home. Sighs when I'd leave for physical therapy appointments. Eye rolls when I'd take calls about his care. Then it escalated. "You're not his nurse. That's what he has the aide for. Why can't his sister come back? It's her brother. You're putting him before our relationship." I tried to explain. I tried to help her understand that this wasn't a temporary inconvenience. This was his life now, and he needed support during the hardest transition anyone could face. She'd nod, say she understood, and then 2 days later we'd have the same conversation. 3 weeks ago, she sat me down for what she called a serious talk. "I need you to be honest with me," she said. "How long is this going to go on?" "What do you mean?" "The caretaking. The constant availability. When does it end?" I stared at her. "He's paralyzed. It doesn't end. So what? You're going to do this forever? What about us? What about our future? Kids? A house? Are you going to be running off to help him change a catheter bag when we have a newborn at home?" I felt something shift in my chest. Something cold and final. "He's my best friend. He has no one else here. That's not your problem." It literally is. I made it my problem because that's what you do for people you love. She crossed her arms. "I'm giving you a choice. Him or me." I sat there for a long moment. 21 years of friendship. Childhood memories. College adventures. Standing beside each other through every major life event. The guy who held me when my dad was diagnosed with cancer. The guy who drove 4 hours in the middle of the night when my car broke down in the middle of nowhere. Versus a woman who saw my loyalty to a paralyzed friend as an inconvenience. "I understand your feelings," I said. "I really do. But I choose him." She laughed. Actually laughed. "You're joking." "I'm not. You're choosing a cripple over your girlfriend?" That word did it. I'm choosing my brother over someone who just called him a cripple. "Yeah, pack your stuff. I'll stay at his place until you're out." I grabbed my keys, my laptop, a bag of clothes, and I left. Drove straight to his apartment. Told her what happened. He tried to argue. Said he didn't want to be the reason my relationship ended. I told him she ended it herself the moment she made me choose. I blocked her number that night. Moved into his guest room officially 3 days later. My name went on the lease, so I could handle things if needed. It's been 3 weeks. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Update 1, 5 days later. So, things have gotten interesting. First, thanks to everyone who reached out after my original post. The support meant more than I can say. A lot of people asked for updates, so here we are. After I blocked my ex, I figured she'd move on. We'd been together 2 years, sure, but the relationship clearly wasn't what I thought it was. I expected maybe some mutual friends taking sides, a few awkward encounters if we ran into each other. Normal breakup stuff. What I did not expect was what happened 4 days ago. I was helping my best friend with his morning routine, transfers, getting dressed, making sure he was set up for when his aide arrived, when the doorbell rang. It was 7:45 a.m. I opened the door, and there she was. My ex looking like she hadn't slept in days, mascara smudged, still in what looked like pajama pants under her coat. We need to talk. No, we don't. I blocked you for a reason. You can't just throw away 2 years because of him. She actually pointed past me toward the bedroom. I didn't throw anything away. You gave me an ultimatum. I made a choice. We're done. You're being manipulated. He's using his disability to keep you trapped. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Yeah, he definitely got paralyzed on purpose just to steal me from you. That tracks. I'm serious. You had a life. We had plans. And now you're what? Playing nurse for someone who isn't even family. PIS family. More than you ever were, apparently. She tried to push past me into the apartment. Actually tried to shove me aside. I want to talk to him. I want him to hear what he's doing to us. You're not coming in here. This is ridiculous. Let me in. My best friend's voice came from behind me. He'd wheeled himself to the hallway. Ma'am, you need to leave. You're not welcome here. She looked at him with such disgust, like he was something she'd scraped off her shoe. This is your fault. You couldn't just hire a real caretaker. You had to steal my boyfriend. I didn't steal anyone. He chose to be here. And you need to leave before I call the police. She laughed. And tell them what? That your little servant's ex-girlfriend stopped by to talk. That you're trespassing and attempting to force entry into my home. Leave. Now. Something in his voice must have gotten through because she stepped back. But she wasn't done. You're going to regret this, she said to me. Both of you. When he realizes you've wasted your life on someone who can't even walk, don't come crawling back to me. She left. I closed the door, locked it, and stood there shaking. My best friend wheeled over and just sat there with me in silence for a while. You okay? He finally asked. Yeah, you. Been better. Been worse. He paused. You sure about this? Staying here? You don't have to. Stop. I'm sure. I've never been more sure of anything. That should have been the end of it. Should have been. But yesterday, I got a text from my ex's mom. I'd never blocked her number because, honestly, I forgot it existed. You should be ashamed of yourself. Abandoning my daughter for some cripple. She's devastated. You owe her an apology and a conversation at minimum. I screenshotted it, sent it to a couple of friends as evidence in case things escalated, and then blocked her too. Then this morning, I found out my ex has been telling people I cheated on her. That the real reason we broke up is because I was sleeping with my best friend's home health aide. The aide is a 58-year-old grandmother named who's been doing this job for 30 years. She thought it was hilarious when I told her. I'm not laughing, though, because 3 of her mutual friends have already texted me asking if it's true. And I found out she's been posting vague but pointed things on social media about betrayal and choosing your real friends, and some people show their true colors. I've stayed quiet so far. Haven't responded to anyone, haven't posted anything, haven't engaged with the drama at all. But I'm starting to think that might need to change. Update 2. 9 days later. Okay, so where do I even start? The situation has escalated in ways I genuinely did not anticipate, and I need to document everything because at this point I'm pretty sure I'm going to need it for legal purposes. After my last update, I took everyone's advice and just stayed quiet. Didn't engage with the rumors, didn't respond to the social media stuff, just focused on my life and helping my best friend. That lasted about 4 days. Last Tuesday, I got a call from my landlord. My old landlord. The one for the apartment I'd share with my ex. Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. Your girlfriend is saying you're still on the lease and refusing to pay rent. She's threatening to take legal action. We broke up 3 weeks ago. I moved out, and the lease is only in her name. I was added as an occupant, not a co-signer. That's what I thought, but she's insisting you owe her for this month and next because you abandoned her. That's not how any of this works. I know. I just wanted you to hear it from me first. I thanked him and hung up. Then I dug out the original lease from my email, confirmed I was never a co-signer, and saved multiple copies. But that was just the warm-up. 2 days later, my best friend and I were coming back from his physical therapy appointment. We pulled into the parking lot of his apartment complex, and there was my ex standing by my car with her mom. My stomach dropped. "Stay in the car," I told him. "Lock the doors. I can handle myself." "I know you can, but I don't want you anywhere near this." I got out and walked toward them. Her mom started in immediately. "There he is, the man who ruined my daughter's life. Ma'am, I need you both to leave. We're not leaving until you agree to pay what you owe. First and last month's rent. That's only fair after you walked out. I don't know anything. The lease is in her name only. I paid my share of everything while I lived there." "That's not what she told me." "Then she lied to you." My ex stepped forward. "I'm not lying. You always said we'd split everything 50-50. You owe me. I paid my half of everything through the day I moved out. I don't owe you for a lease. I was never on for time. I'm not living there." Her mom got right in my face, like inches away. "You're a selfish, ungrateful little boy. My daughter gave you 2 years of her life. And this is how you repay her? Running off to play house with another man." I stepped back. "I'm not doing this. You need to leave before I call the police." "Call them. Tell them you're a deadbeat who abandoned his girlfriend. I'll tell them you're harassing me in a private parking lot. Last warning." My ex grabbed her mom's arm. "Let's go. This isn't working." But her mom wasn't done. She actually spat at me. "Missed, thankfully, but still. You'll regret this. My daughter deserves better than trash like you." They left. I stood there for a good 5 minutes just trying to breathe. When I finally got back in the car, my best friend was on the phone with the non-emergency police line, reporting the incident. He'd recorded the whole thing through the car window. "Got it all," he said. "Video and audio." That video is now saved in 3 different cloud services and on a flash drive. But here's where it gets really interesting. 2 days ago, I was at work. I work remotely most days, but I have to go into the office twice a week, and I got a call from my best friend. His aide had called in sick, and his sister was trying to reach him about something urgent, but he couldn't find his phone. I told my supervisor I had a family emergency and headed home. When I got there, his door was unlocked. My heart stopped. I'd locked it when I left that morning. I always lock it. I pushed it open slowly, and there was my ex inside his apartment, going through his desk. "What the hell are you doing?" She jumped about a foot in the air. The door was open." "No, it wasn't." "How did you get in?" "It was unlocked." "I was just." "You broke into his apartment. You're literally committing a crime right now." "I didn't break anything." The door was open. My best friend wheeled out of his bedroom. He'd been in there the whole time, unaware anyone had come in because she'd been quiet. "What's going on?" "Call the police. Now." My ex bolted, just ran right past me and out the door. I called the cops myself, filed a report, showed them the previous video of the parking lot confrontation, explained the ongoing harassment. The officer was sympathetic, but honest. Unless you can prove she actually broke in versus the door being accidentally unlocked, it's going to be hard to charge her with anything more than trespassing. What about harassment? You'll need to document a pattern. Keep records of everything. If it continues, you can petition for a protective order. So that's what I've been doing. Documenting everything. Every text that's gotten through from numbers I haven't blocked yet. Every social media post. Every witness account of her spreading lies. But I'm done being passive. Yesterday, I talked to a lawyer. A real one. Consultation fee was $200, but it was worth it. She told me I have grounds for a harassment claim if the behavior continues. She also told me something interesting. My ex's attempt to claim I owe her rent could constitute fraud if she tries to pursue it officially, since she'd be making a false claim. More importantly, she told me about something called tortious interference. See, my ex has apparently been calling my employer, telling them I've been neglecting my job duties to care for some random disabled guy. She didn't know that my supervisor is friends with me on social media and saw my post about my best friend's accident months ago. When my ex called pretending to be a concerned colleague, my supervisor recognized her voice from a company picnic last year. My supervisor told HR. HR has it documented. If my ex's calls had gotten me fired, I would have had grounds to sue her. They didn't. My supervisor actually commended me for my dedication to a friend in need, but the fact that she tried? That's a pattern. That's harassment. That's potentially actionable. I'm meeting with the lawyer again next week to discuss next steps. In the meantime, I've installed a video doorbell at my best friend's apartment, changed the locks, and filed an official report with apartment security about my ex and her mother. My best friend feels terrible about all of this. Keeps saying he's sorry for causing this mess. I keep reminding him he didn't cause anything. He got hit by a drunk driver. That's not a choice. What my ex is doing, those are choices. Her choices. Her consequences. Speaking of consequences, final update, 12 days later. It's over. And honestly, I'm still processing everything that happened. After my last update, I thought things might calm down. The lawyer was involved. I had documentation. The doorbell camera was installed. I figured my ex would finally get the message and back off. Instead, she went nuclear. For days after I installed the new locks, I came home from work to find my best friend sitting in his living room with a police officer. What happened? The officer explained. My ex had called Adult Protective Services. She filed a report claiming my best friend was being held against his will by an unqualified caretaker and that I was financially exploiting a disabled person. Let that sink in. She reported me to APS for abuse. My best friend, to his credit, was calm. Calmer than I was anyway. I already explained the situation, he told me. The officer is here as a formality. The officer was actually pretty apologetic. Sir, we have to investigate all reports. But based on what I've seen and heard, this appears to be a false complaint. Because it is a false complaint, my best friend said. My friend is here because I asked him to be. I have a medical team, a home health aide, and complete control over my own finances and decisions. I'm paralyzed, not mentally incapacitated. That documented everything. Took statements from both of us. Contacted his medical team and his insurance assigned case manager. Everyone confirmed the same thing. This was a legitimate caregiving arrangement, fully voluntary, with no signs of exploitation or abuse. The APS report was officially unfounded within 3 days. But here's the thing about filing a false APS report. It's not nothing. It's not just an inconvenience you could shrug off. My lawyer was very interested when I told her what happened. Filing a false report with a protective agency is potentially criminal, she said. At minimum, it's actionable in civil court as part of a harassment pattern. She drafted a cease and desist letter. Detailed everything. The trespassing, the attempted rent fraud, the calls to my employer, the social media defamation, the parking lot confrontation, and now the false APS report. The letter made it clear. Any further contact, directly or through third parties, would result in immediate legal action. We were prepared to file for a protective order and pursue civil damages for harassment and defamation. The letter was delivered via certified mail to my ex's address. Her mom got 1-2 for the parking lot incident and the spitting. I expected more drama, more escalation, more desperate attempts to make my life miserable. All I got was silence. Turns out, my ex's mom showed the letter to her husband, my ex's stepdad, a man I'd only met a few times, but who always seemed reasonable. According to a mutual friend who stayed neutral through all this, the stepdad lost it when he saw the letter. Not at me, at his wife and stepdaughter. Apparently, he had no idea about any of this. The parking lot ambush, the break-in attempt, the APS report, his wife and stepdaughter had been doing all of it without telling him. When he found out they'd been harassing a guy whose only crime was caring for his paralyzed best friend, he was furious. He made them both write apology letters. Real apologies, not the "I'm sorry you feel that way" nonsense. I got mine 4 days ago. My ex's letter was short. She admitted she was wrong to give me an ultimatum, wrong to call my friend that word, wrong to try to force her way into his home, wrong to lie about our relationship, wrong to file the false report. She said she was getting therapy to work on her attachment issues. I don't care if she gets therapy. I don't care if she's sorry. I care that she stops. Her mom's letter was longer. She apparently had a lot to apologize for. The stepdad made her specifically address the spitting incident. I haven't responded to either letter. I'm not going to. The lawyer said the letters are useful as admissions of wrongdoing if we ever need them, so I've got them saved with everything else. As for moving forward, my best friend is doing better than he was 6 months ago. He's gotten more mobile in his wheelchair, more confident. He started talking to a therapist about the accident and everything after. He's even looked into getting a specially modified car so he can drive again eventually. I'm still living in his guest room, and honestly, I don't mind. We split the rent now, since I insisted. We've fallen into a routine that works. Morning transfers, breakfast together. I work remotely while his aide handles midday stuff. Evenings we usually watch something or play video games with adaptive controllers. It's not what I imagined my life would look like at 28. But it's good. It's real. A few people have asked if I resent my ex for any of it. The answer is no. I'm not wasting energy on resentment. What she showed me was who she really was. When someone you love faces a crisis, you show up. You don't demand that your partner abandon them. You don't make their tragedy about you. My ex made her choices. Her mom made her choices. They face consequences for those choices. That's just how life works. My best friend and I have been through a lot together. 21 years of friendship, and this is just another chapter. A hard one, but we're getting through it. Last week, we were sitting on his balcony. The apartment has a nice one, accessible from the living room. And he said something that stuck with me. You know you didn't have to do any of this, right? Choose me over her. Move in. Deal with all that drama. You could have just visited sometimes. Yeah, I said, I could have. But that's not who I am. I know. That's why you're my best friend. We sat there for a while, not saying anything else. Sometimes you don't need to. I might post again eventually if anything significant happens. But honestly, I think this chapter is closed. The harassment stopped, the legal threats worked, and my ex is apparently getting the help she needs to not be a terrible person anymore. Whether she actually becomes a better person, not my problem, not my concern. I've got a friend who needs me. That's what matters.